Hello everybody and welcome back to the Dragon's Lair. I'm your boy Wade, and today once again we are talking about Warhammer 40k. We are still talking about the Tyranids. There's a lot of great 40k stuff coming up. I was excited for Leagues of Votann. That kind of died down a little bit. I'm still looking at them. I'm looking for an army in power suits. Maybe maybe that's Space Marines. If I ever played Space Marines, I'd probably want to play Ultramarines. That's just the way that is. Maybe that's Sisters. It's not Chaos Marines, but maybe that's Khorne, because I always said if I ever played Chaos, I only ever wanted to play World Eaters. So just like if I ever played Space Marines, I'd only ever want to play Ultramarines. Maybe that's Tau in battle suits. I want to play something in robot suits. So maybe that's Leagues of Votann. I don't know. I'm still shopping for my robot suit army. I haven't decided yet. So World Eaters is right around the corner. Something I'm super excited for is Imperial Guard. You might not know, but I have an Imperial Guard tattoo. And I played Guard a long time ago. I played Parking Garage, so yeah, I have like 200 guardsmen, but I also have 15 Leman Russes and a Shadow Sword. I don't say that to brag, I say that to tell you I've got a lot of points in Guard, and I played Guard for a good long while with my Parking Garage, and I'm excited to play Guard again. I'm really excited about this Guard Codex. I am more excited about this Guard Codex than I was Leagues of Votann and I was World Eaters. So hopefully they get some cool stuff, and then I can use it. Sorry. So I've done videos for all of my HQ choices that I take in my standard 2,000 point armies. I feel like 2,000 points is a lot of where I play at with my friends. Yeah, we've done Crusade stuff for a long time, and yeah, we've done smaller games, but I feel like 2K is right about where it sticks, and I feel like 2K is a lot of the armies that I see in tournament play are at 2K, so I'm still going to be talking about Leviathan, even though Leviathan has changed with the last balanced data slate, and I'm going to do a video about the balanced data slate. I want my videos that I make to be pertinent to super mega experienced players, because maybe I can show you something, but I also want my videos to be informative and educational for less experienced players. I feel like if I'm going to be here, I might as well be of use. So I want to do that. So I'm still going to go Leviathan, and what I'm really talking about is there was a change in Leviathan. Now you have to be Synapse Monster in order to get the transhuman, so only being able to be wounded on a 4 and above. So that's the big change. Basically, it took it away for warriors and Zoanthropes. But if you're interested in any of those things, I have a video for the Walk Rant, the Fly Rant, and the Neurothrope. Those are my HQ choices. So a Flying Hive Tyrant, a Walking Hive Tyrant, and a Neurothrope. Those are my favorite HQ choices. I got videos for all those. Go check those out. Right now I'm working my way through the Elite choices. So I've already got a video for Hive Guard. And today I'm going to talk about Zoanthropes. I love Zoanthropes. I hear some people say Zoanthropes or Zoanathropes, but I say Zoanthropes. Today's video is about Zoanthropes. I think they're a great unit. Let's look at them. So talking about Zoanthropes, let's look at the stat block that we got here. So just like the Tyrant Guard, they come in a group of 3. That's what they start off in, and you can buy more. You can go up to 6 in the unit, which is actually pretty good. I'm not going to lie to you there. It's actually pretty good. Movement is 6, which feels really slow. What you got to remember is that they fly. Where's it at? Right there. They fly. So look at the keywords at the bottom there. They fly. Let me show you my Zoanthropes. Just like with my Neurothrope, I did not even bother to model the really tiny, spindly arms that they come with. So once again, I'm doing orange jungle bugs. Ooh, my good friend Sarah helped me do dots, and she actually helped me learn how to do dots quite a bit. Alright, like I said, and they come in groups of 3, squads of 3 is what they start off with. So movement is 6. Remember that they fly. That's important. Weapon skill, who cares? Who cares? 2 attacks, weapon skill 5. Who cares? Yeah, you might get super crazy lucky, maybe. Ballistic skill 3 doesn't matter because they don't have a gun. They don't even have a melee weapon. Strength 5, who cares? Tough 5, okay. That means something to you there. That means most Orc Boy guns aren't going to do a whole heck of a lot. Tau guns starting off, bolters starting off, strength 4 to 5. So that's pretty good, decent toughness. 4 wounds, their wounds went up from the previous codex, which is really cool. There's some extra stand power there, but we'll get into that in a second here. 2 attacks, who cares? Like I said, you might get lucky. Take them. Look straight at me, camera. Take them. Take your 2 attacks at weapon skill 5, cause maybe, but don't count on it. That's long shot maybe stuff. Leadership 9 doesn't matter because they are synops. 5+ save also doesn't matter for most things. We got to get down into the abilities now. So once again, I am talking about Leviathan because I think I'm still going to run Leviathan. I have a Kraken build. I really like the when you advance, take the 3+ D3 or D3 + 3 instead. I'm looking at that, to be fast. I have a Gorgon build that I want to do, but the Gorgon build is much different. And everyone talks about their Behemoth build. Oh, my Behemoth build is so amazing. So I'm looking at Behemoth. But honestly, I ran Kraken in the beginning when the base ability, the Synaptic Control, was really good. I think I'm going to run Kraken now. I'm not going to jump ship just because the rules got a little bit harder. It's still good for Synops monsters. So, get your Maliceptor. Your Tyrants are still good. Maliceptor, Tyrants. You can make other monsters Synops. With the adaptive physiology. Think about your Trigon Primes. I got nothing good to say about Trigons and Trigon Primes. I think it's a wonderful model. I think the stats are okay. They just get melted. Every Trigon, Prime or otherwise that I've ever ran has got melted. And I know that I live in this bubble where I play against really good seasoned veteran players who only bring really good armies to the table. I understand that. But that's all I ever fight against. So I can't bring a Trigon Prime or a Trigon. It'll just get melted immediately. I come up out of the ground. I'm great. Maybe here's a unit in front of me that I brought up with me. Melted. Gone. Off the board. Dead. Instant dead. Instant dead. So I just can't justify it. And I'm sorry that I have a bad attitude about Trigon Primes and Trigons, but never worked out for me. Anyways, so remember that it doesn't really apply with Zoanthropes, but with my Leviathan, I choose the Feed Hyper Adapt Unstoppable Swarm. So all my units are not hindered by difficult terrain when they charge or when they move or when they advance. I know that really doesn't mean anything here because I have Fly, But just for consistency's sake, I just want to tell a consistent story, because this whole time I've been laying down my Leviathan 2K army, and I just want to continue to do that. So remember that their synapse, it's 12 inches. Or sorry, synapse is 6 inches. I'm sorry, I was thinking about synaptic link range. Okay, so synapse is 6 inches. Shadow of the Warp is 18 inches. Makes it harder for enemy psychers to make their psychic tests. Remember that. Warp Field. Okay, so here's part of what makes them good, but it changed. So previous codex, their Warp Field and Vulnerable Save was a 3+. Now it's a 4. But they got that extra wound. So I see Games Workshop trying to balance that out. So Zoanthropes are great because they have a 4+ and vulnerable save. 4 wounds, 4+ and vulnerable save. Trust me. Okay, I'm going to look straight into your eyes, camera. They're going to survive. It's hard to put down a unit of Zoanthropes, especially when you've got so much else on the table that is dangerous. I've said it in previous videos. Give your opponent no good choices. Make all of their choices terrible. I could shoot the Zoanthropes, which are probably going to shrug off most of the wounds. Or I could shoot the Hive Tyrant, that's probably going to shrug off most of the wounds and then eat me. Like, leave your opponent nothing but terrible choices. And when they feel the pressure and when they feel the stress, they're going to make bad choices. Bad choices are going to turn into terrible results. Your opponent having terrible results gives you a good game. I'm going to skip over Warp Blast for the moment because that's really what I want to focus on. Psy Brood. So if your army is Battle Forged, then each detachment, including High Fleet Neurothrope units, one High Fleet Zoanthrope unit can be included in the detachment without taking off a battlefield roll slot. Okay, I murdered that when I said it. So here's what it really means. Let's say you're taking a patrol. That patrol can only have 2 elite choices. If you have a Neurothrope as one of your 2 HQs, now you can get a unit of Zoanthropes that does not take up one of those 2 elite choices inside of your patrol. So maybe you could run a unit of Tyrant Guard and 2 units of Zoanthropes, because you're getting one of them for free. And that's super in your best interest. I pretty much always run 2 groups of Zoanthropes. I jumped into the Zoanthrope bandwagon really early and just kept on buying them. So I'm looking over at my shelf right now. I can run 3 groups of 9. Yeah. I'm sorry. 3 groups of 6. I'm sorry. I can run 3 groups of 6. They don't come in 9s. I can run 3 groups of 6 is what I meant to say. That's a lot. That's a lot. But if you get a 2K army, sorry, if you get a 3K army, throw it in there, man. You could play it in 2K, but I don't think it would be in your best interest. Okay, so let's go down to Warp Blast. All right, so here is the big deal about Zoanthropes. Warp Field, super great. Warp Field is great. They're 4 wounds, really good. Tough 5, good. Wounds and tough and the Warp Field together, all of that is good. Here's where they shine. Warp Blast. Each time this unit attempts to manifest Smite or Witch Fire Psychic Power, keep that in mind, add 1 to the Psychic test for each model in this unit. Each time this unit manifests Smite, the Psychic Power, add 1 to the number of mortal wounds suffered by the enemy unit for each model in this unit to a maximum of 3. Alright. So, you're using Smite. Here's my suggestion. Use Smite every turn with them. Make them your Smite engine. Other people can cast Smite, and to be fair, other people should cast Smite first, because the Zoanthropes have the greatest likelihood of succeeding in casting Smite. So maybe your Neurothrope rips one off, or maybe your Tyrant, one of your 2 Tyrants has no better choice or option. They can rip one off. Because you got to remember, Smite starts at 5. It's the only psychic power that you can spam. So let's say you run like I do. So you have a Neurothrope, 2 Tyrants, and 2 groups of Zoanthropes. When your first Tyrant torches it off, let's say your Neurothrope torches it off. When your Neurothrope torches it off, you need a 5. When your first Tyrant torches it off, you need a 6. It goes up every time you cast it. Your second Tyrant, you need a 7. This group of Zoanthropes, you need an 8. The next group of Zoanthropes, you need a 9. Okay, and that can be a lot if you're going to go that route with it. My suggestion to you is maybe torch it off with one person. Maybe it's your Neurothrope. My Neurothrope knows all kinds of psychic powers because he's got the barb. Go ahead and watch that video. But my Neurothrope can scream and then smite because he's handing out the mortal wounds. He's handing them out. What you need to do with the Zoanthropes is get your psychic on. The flying tyrant gets his murder on. The walking tyrant gets his shooting on. The Neurothrope gets his psychic on. The Zoanthropes need to get their psychic on. I tell you guys this in other videos. Use your unit for what it's good at. You're not walking into melee combat with a Zoanthrope and going to do well. You're not going to do that. It's got no guns to shoot. It doesn't participate in the shooting phase. It's a psychic only bug. Use it to the best of your ability. Okay. So that means, let's say Captain Zoanthrope here is the first person to cast Smite in a turn. Now keep in mind it's only 18 inches. Previous edition we had a special Warp Blast that was 24. It's only 18 inches. It's the closest enemy in sight. Okay, closest enemy in sight. It's a Warp Charge of 5. What that means is you basically just have to roll a 3, and I say a 3 because you don't want to roll double ones because then Perils of the Warp. So a 1 and a 2, and you've succeeded. Okay. At that point in time, you're going to roll a D3 plus 3 mortal wounds. A D3 plus 3 mortal wounds, your average is 2. You just pumped out 5 mortal wounds. That's a big deal. I mean, that's whacking 2 Space Marines, 2 Chaos Marines, a lot of independent characters you're whacking right off the bat. Okay? So remember, to get your Super Smite, it has to be above 10. So you gotta roll an 11 to trigger it. Okay? But with to trigger Super Smite, but with this special Warp Blast rule, you only need to roll a 9, which, you know, is not super easy to do. But I'll teach you more about that in a second. Point is, if you get your Super Smite off, your average is 3.5 plus 3, so that's your average is 6.5. You can't have the point when you're rolling dice, but 6.5. You see the difference between those two? An average of 5 and an average of 6.5. It's not a great difference. So what I'm trying to tell you there is not getting the Super Smite is not the end of the world. Just Smite. And when you have 2 units of Zoanthropes that do it, you've now pumped out an average of 10 or 12. Because that's 5. Yeah. 10 or 12 mortal wounds between 2 of them. That's great. 12 mortal wounds out there, and then you're going to have your days where you roll better. You're going to have your days where you roll the 3 on the D3 and you get your 6. You're going to have the days where you roll the 5 or 6 on the D6 and you get your 9 or your 8. 9 mortal wounds. If you put 9 mortal wounds into a unit of Space Marines, you're going to kill 4 of them. You're going to kill 4 Space Marines just outright with 3 Zoanthropes. It's great. It's great. Okay, so down to Psychers. This unit can manifest 1 psychic power in your psychic phase and attempt to deny 1 psychic power in your opponent's psychic phase. It knows Smite and 1 psychic power. There's a lot of different things you could do for the other psychic power. You could do a catalyst to back up your, in my case it would be backup for my flying tyrant, my winged tyrant. You could do assault, paroxysm. My brain blanked there. But you could do the power that allows you to move advance, shoot, and assault. As backup. Usually my tyrants know those. But yeah, you could definitely do that. You could take Neuroparasite if you're fighting guard, orcs, or Tau, and you're going to target fire warriors. My Neurothrope usually knows Neuroparasite in case I go up against one of those. Neuroparasite's a great power if you're shooting at low toughness infantry. But yeah, you got all kinds of options. You can even take Scream, Psychic Scream. Keywords: Hive Tendril, Tyranids, Hive Fleet. Once again, my Hive Fleet's name is Cerebrus. Infantry, Psyker, Fly, Core. There's a fun one. Core. So stuff that affects core units can affect that. Will of the Hive Mind's really not going to count for anything there, but whatever. So let's talk about units to pair it with and synergies. So I always have one of my units of Zoanthrope's character protect my Neurothrope. He just mingles right in there, and then character protects that Zoanthrope. It's great because they're hard to put down, especially if you have a unit of 4, 5, 6. You got a unit of 6. That unit is hard to put down, and people that melee combat them will be stuck melee combating them for a good long while with your 5 toughness, your 4 your wounds, and your invulnerable save. So that they're a tough unit. Lots of people won't even give them the time of day because they know they're not going to put them down. And people who do try to put them down know that they got a long slog ahead, particularly if you're working with 4, 5, or 6. It's great to buy the 4th, the 5th, or the 6th because remember, with Warp Blast, you get +1 to cast and +1 to damage to a maximum of 3. So if you have the 4th, they have to kill 2 Zoanthropes before that +3 to cast and +3 to damage is diminished. If you have 5, they got to kill 3. If you have 6, they got to kill 4. That's great. Because, yes, that ability does diminish, but it's hard to diminish it. So I always put mine, hide my Neurothrope inside of one of my units of Zoanthropes so they can character protect him. Do that. That's the only unit matchup that I see. Army-wide synergy, and I've talked about this in my other units, how I crash. So on turn 2 or turn 3, the majority of my units make it into melee combat. The majority of the ones that need to make it into melee combat. So, round 1, a lot of times my Zoanthropes advance. Because remember, Smite's only 18 inches. Smite kind of puts you in a scary position because you're kind of close enough for a lot of units to maybe charge you back. So, what you want to do is you want to move the Zoanthropes up behind the unit that is going to melee combat. So then on turn 2 or turn 3, when they crash, when they get in there, then you have the ability to psychic in to that melee combat. So one of the big strategies here is you can cast Smite into a friendly unit into their melee combat and affect just your enemies. So Zoanthropes behind a big juicy squad of warriors. Those warriors, because mine are using dual bone swords and adrenal glands, those dual bone swords are going to do a lot. They're going to do a lot of damage. They're really good. It's a really good combination. But then every psychic phase, when you have a group of Zoanthropes psychicking in and putting in 8 mortal wounds, 5 mortal wounds, your enemy's going to have less models to respond back and attack with, so your warriors will live longer. You're going to finish that assault quicker. You're going to finish that melee combat quicker so you can move on to the next one. It's nothing but good, and it's really good. Also remember that you can psychic into your own melee combat. So your Zoanthropes are floating around and you get charged by, I don't know, I'm just going to make something up, some Chaos Marines. The Chaos Marines, try to do something to you and they don't do a whole heck of a lot. And maybe they put like 2 wounds on. Then you can respond by doing 5.5 wounds or 6 wounds back into them, 5 wounds or 6 wounds back into them. 6 wounds is going to kill 3 Chaos Marines. 3 Chaos Marines down when all they did is put 2 wounds onto you. So you can psychic into your own melee combat. You can psychic into other melee combats. That is a great strategy. The only stratagem that I would suggest to use with them is Power of the Hive Mind, which lets you cast again. So let's say it knows Psychic Scream and Smite. You could Scream and then use Power of the Hive Mind to smite with it. Now you can't smite and then use Power of the Hive Mind to smite again from the same unit. You can't do that. So keep that in mind. Even though you can spam smite, each unit can only cast smite once a turn, even if you fail. Another synergy to use is use your Neurothrope's Warp Siphon on your Zoanthropes. If you take Warp Tendrils on your Neurothrope, you can use your Warp Siphon twice, and if you use your Warp Siphon twice and put it on each unit of Zoanthropes, so 2 units of Zoanthropes, you are extremely very likely to get the Super Smite. So usually on turn 1 and 2, I am there to use Warp Tendrils in Synaptic Link range. Use Warp Tendrils, which lets me use Warp Siphon twice. I put it on my Hive Tyrants to make sure that all their Psychicking goes well, because they need their Psychicking to go well. Yeah, they need their Psychicking to go well. Which, allows them to perform their 5+ Feel No Pains and their Assault after moving and everything like that, and their Shoe while advancing. But on turn 3, let's say, probably on turn 3, my Fly Rant is dead. Because that's what happens to me. Everyone Alpha Strikes my Fly Rant, or, it's going up against the best of the best, or, gets mobbed by 3 units, or whatever. So maybe the Winged is alive, maybe the Winged's not alive. Not the point. You have this front line where there's multiple combats going on, okay? And maybe your first turn your Zoanthropes advanced, and then your second turn they just kind of flew up into terrain, and your third turn they, if they're not already within 18 inches, they're within 18 inches now. Okay, drop your Warp Siphon on them, because they're going to get the extra die to cast. So you're throwing 3d6 plus 3, throwing away one of those d6 to cast. It's really good. So, statistically, you're going to get a 3 and a 4. But what if you rolled the 3, the 4, and the 5? You could throw away the 3. Then you've got the 5 and the 4, which is 9, 10, 11, 12. You've Super Smited. Or let's just say you rolled the 2, the 3, and the 4. You're keeping the 3 and the 4. That's only 7 plus 3, 10. You haven't Super Smited, but you got close. That's really good. That's good. You want to Super Smite as often as possible. Putting Warp Siphon from the Neurothrope onto the Zoanthropes is going to get you there. It's really good. Also on turn 3, and I've talked about this in my other videos, using your Neurothrope's Synaptic Imperative, that's the turn that I wait. The turn after the crash. So it's either the turn after the crash, yeah, it's the turn after the crash, is when I Psychic up. So remember, your Psychic Augmentation coming from your Neurothrope is going to be add 1 to Psychic tests taken for that unit, add 1 to deny tests, and each time that unit would lose a wound as a result of a mortal wound on a d6, roll a 5+, and the wound is not lost. So that's going to help you out, but it's the additional +1 to cast. So in that case, if you did roll the 2, the 3, and the 4, you ditched the 2, You've got 7, which becomes 8, 9, 10, 11, Super Smite. So that's really good. So that's pairing it with the Neurothrope. For me, that's turn 3-ish. Sometimes turn 2. It just depends. So let's talk about things that are easy to forget, things that you want to remember. So it's easy to forget that they fly. Keep that in mind. They move over things. They're not hindered by terrain. It's easy to forget that you can smite into the melee combat that they're involved in. So somebody assaults them, you can defend yourself in that assault, in that combat, by smiting them back. And then when I did the Tyrant Guard video, I taught myself this one. I learned this one. You could cast Rapid Regeneration on them, which is a stratagem. Pick a model, so that model gains D3 wounds back. So let's say they've been working really hard. They get one of your Zoanthropes down to 1 in your command phase. You're spending that 1 CP. You're going to maybe roll a 3 on a D3 and get all of those wounds back. The unit of Zoanthropes that someone's been wailing on, trying to, remove Zoanthropes to weaken it so it can't character protect a Neurothrope. They've been spending all this time, effort, and energy making bad calls, shooting the Zoanthropes, and then you regenerate that model, and it's back up to full. Super good. That's going to be it for my talk about Zoanthropes. And that also finishes my look at my elites that I take in my 2K. What we have left to talk about is troops and heavy support and flyers. Flyers is an option for me. It's a drop-in, drop-out option, but we'll talk about it because I have one and it's really nice, and I want to talk about it. So if you like what we have been looking at here, what we've been talking about, go ahead and give me a like, give me a subscribe, tap that bell. Go ahead and drop a warp siphon. Drop 2 warp siphons on 2 separate units of Zoanthropes. So the Zoanthropes can float 6 inches forward, get 18 inches into the like and subscribe button, and both of them super smite for max. Drop in, what would it be, 18 mortal wounds? Drop in 18 mortal wounds on the like and subscribe buttons. Go ahead and do that. That's a great strategy. I approve. We understand here at the Dragon Slayer that you are a person with all sorts of responsibilities. Maybe you have a spouse, maybe you have kids, maybe you have a job, more than one job. Anyways, life gets hectic. Life gets full of all sorts of wonderful things. And it's a wonderful thing that you chose to spend some time here with us at the Dragon Slayer.